Greetings, Earthlings.
Hi.
Take me to your Velveeta.
I'm sorry?
I said, greetings, Earthlings. Take me to your Velveeta.
Is that a reference to something? I mean, besides Velveeta.
Not particularly. I mean, it's a pretty cheesy way to introduce yourself to someone.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Word Funk. I am Leon Thomas. I am joined by Johnny Maloney and Austin Yorsky. I just realized there was a thing I wanted to talk about, and I didn't put it on the list of things we're scheduled to talk about this week, but I want to talk about it.
Scheduled.
Yeah. Actually, it's funny. Just as a side note, I was a guest star on another podcast a couple of weeks ago, and I noted that there were all of this planning and Google documents, and at the end he says, "Isn't this how you do it on WordFunk?" And I said, "No, we literally think of it 5 minutes before the show." And I think he thought I was joking. But anyway, there was a thing I wanted to talk about. That song "Uptown Funk" by Bruno Mars featuring other people.
Do you mean "Uptown Funk" by Mark Ronson featuring Bruno Mars?
I remember. Isn't it mostly Bruno Mars singing?
Yeah, but I thought Mark Ronson wrote it.
Oh, okay. So he gets first night top billing. It doesn't matter. The point is that
I am right. Apparently, the official Vivo channel lists it as Mark Ronson, Uptown Funk featuring Bruno Mars.
Oh my God! Someone is clearly. I mean that's like I
if
want.
If you don't believe me, just watch.
No. I believe it. I just feel that it's obviously a Bruno Mars song. He's the one singing it. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. Bruno Mars at some point in the song says, "Bitch, say my name. You know who I am," and I don't understand what his problem is. I mean, that line kind of comes out of nowhere. He's spending the whole song. He's like, yeah, I have nice clothes, and I wear cologne and stuff, and also, bitch, say my name, you know who I am. And it's like, what is your problem? First of all, why is it important to you, Bruno Mars, that she knows your name? I mean, how insecure are you? I mean, I know you just spent the last 2 minutes of the song talking about how great you are, which suggests insecurity, but I don't understand the problem. Also, if she's genuinely an unpleasant person, a bitch, as you say,
if you will,
why do you need her validation? I don't understand that at all. It seems like also if maybe he doesn't mean that and he's just using the very unflattering form of bitch just as a substitute for the word woman, which is a really unfortunate thing that people apparently do.
Leon.
Yeah.
What if he has that 51st dates amnesia where he forgets things every day, so he genuinely doesn't know his own name, and he's like, "Hey, you know my name, right, bitch? Tell me my name." I don't remember.
I don't think you guys exactly understand what this is about. You see, This is obviously a very deeply hidden clue on that leads to some kind of wacky treasure hunt, kind of like a Goonies adventure, because what you guys may not know is that Bruno Mars's name is not Bruno Mars.
Oh.
It's actually Peter Gene Hernandez.
What?
And if that's not the start, if that's if him giving that clue is not a suggestion to an audience to track down some famous buried Hernandez treasure in some, mythical, I don't know, forgotten deep western kind of Central American ghost town, some city, some gold metropolis that's been buried by the sands of time, then I don't know what is.
That would almost be a justification for it, except I think he's just being genuinely awful. The other thing about him saying, "Bitch, say my name, you know who I am," besides all the other things, is that if you listen to the censored version on the radio, which why would you? He instead of saying, "Bitch, say my name, you know who I am," he says, "Trick, say my name, you know who I am," which sounds like a minor thing, except I'm out of touch, so I looked up what trick means in the Urban Dictionary and on Google, and apparently the closest synonym is whore. A trick is a prostitute, like you're out tricking, so that makes sense. But here's the other problem with that. First of all, I don't know that that's better on the radio. Second of all, why would Bruno Mars want prostitutes to know who he is? I mean, that's what messed up Hugh Grant's career for a while.
You see, years ago, when Peter Gene Hernandez's grandfather was in possession of a magic golden compass that pointed only towards this treasure, he kept it safe by giving it to his one lady love, who was a prostitute in a brothel in a town on the border of Mexico and California.
You're really selling this treasure map thing.
Is this the plot of the new Indiana Jones?
Yeah.
Bruno Mars and the Raiders of the Lost Backstory.
Look, why would... Well, but no, the last thing I'll say about this, and then I'll shut up about Bruno Mars, because he's not important. Why would Bruno, who is rich and according to the song smells good, need to pay prostitutes for sex?
Well, he needs to get access to the prostitute that this magical golden compass was handed down to without arousing the suspicion of the local gendarmes.
We call this subtext, boys and girls.
Okay.
It's the storytelling under the lyrics.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, if you'd ever listened to any other Bruno Mars pop songs in your life, you'd realize that this truly is the story he's been struggling to tell for the greater part of a decade.
Right.
It's like Coheed and Cambria.
The only other explanation I could have for him saying that awful thing is that he has short man's disease, and that's just, it fuels his insecurity. I don't know if you guys know this, but he's like a tiny, tiny man.
Aw. He rocked the Super Bowl. Like, usually I hate Super Bowl shows, but Bruno Mars is really good. I think
I don't believe you.
He is a talented performer and a charismatic individual, and I feel bad that we're talking about his secret family treasure and that we're going to tell everyone how to get there.
I only like the one song of him. Every other song of his is terrible. The one about him, like, gorilla fucking someone. I believe that's
gorilla fucking?
Yeah. He said...
You've been spending too much time on that Urban Dictionary, Leon.
No, I'm almost positive there's a song about that.
Okay.
Are you sure you're not thinking of the Bloodhound Gang, Leon?
No, there's a song called Gorillas, and he insists that they have sex like gorillas because apparently he has a fetish about gorillas, and I don't know.
Because the Bloodhound Gang wanted to do it like they do on the Discovery Channel.
Oh, okay, but not necessarily as gorillas. They could have been talking about giraffes.
I don't know. The costumes that they wore in the music videos indicated some kind of simian.
Okay.
Guys, gorilla fucking is totally an entry on Urban Dictionary. I checked. It exists.
Does it say anything about Bruno Mars, or is it independent of Bruno Mars?
It doesn't have any references to Bruno Mars, so one assumes...
Well, what is it? I mean, besides the obvious.
What
is it? No, you looked it up right on the air.
This is like the last person who touched it needs to take care of it.
I believe he who smelt it dealt it.
Yes, let's hear it.
All right, gorilla fucking. It says, during intercourse, when a man is on top of a woman, thrusting, while head banging and grunting like a gorilla, used in a sentence, I totally got freaked out and left in the middle of having sex because Derek was gorilla fucking me.
Derek has a problem, for one thing.
Yeah, I think Derek might have some intimacy issues.
Yeah, just be nice. I mean, I mean, she let you have sex with her. I mean, at least be gentle about it. You don't.
I mean, if headbanging is your thing, that's fine. You just need to discuss it with your partner, probably beforehand to get that sorted out. Make sure everyone involved is cool.
I don't think Derek did. It was very clear that she bolted.
This is terrible and awful. Did you guys hear? Speaking of popular music, that what's his name? Robin Thicke is gonna have to pay Marvin Gaye's estate like $1 million jillion because he stole a song.
And Pharrell apparently. They're all. Well, you know what? The sad thing is that they don't have to pay up because that's such a terrible song. They have to do it because of a similarity. At this point, haven't all the notes been used in so many different arrangements that it's impossible to come up with something completely original?
I'd like to see that legal argument brought to the Supreme Court. It's all been done, Your Honor. Just let us do it. Just let us do whatever we want. Fuck. I just thought it was funny because Robin Thicke's defense was, I was so fucked up on pills, I don't remember stealing that music. Apparently, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
In America, do we all live in?
Thicke tried to countersue, didn't he? Though
I don't have all the details in front of me, Johnny.
Yeah, because it was something along the lines that they accused him of stealing the song. And then he tried to sue them to no, I didn't steal the song. That's a completely original. It goes boo, ch, boo, ch, boo, where your song goes boo, ch, boo, ch, boo. And then apparently it's like what is it? I'm reading a little bit here or something like that. No, that has to do with EMI failing to protect the gay family's songs. The court battle was triggered in August when Thicke and Pharrell Williams and Clifford Harris Jr. went to a California federal court with the aim of preemptively protecting Blurred Lines from allegations that it was illegally derived from Gay's song as well as Funkadelic's Sexy Ways. Requesting declaratory relief, the plaintiffs stated that being reminiscent of a sound is not copyright infringement. And in the latest court papers, Frankie and Nona Gay say that not only does the lawsuit concern blatant copying of a constellation of distinctive and significant compositional elements of Marvin Gaye's classic #1 song, but that Thicke himself candidly admitted as such. Because apparently in an interview to GQ and Billboard, Thicke is quoted as having said, Pharrell and I were in the studio and I told him that one of my favorite songs of all time was Marvin Gaye's Got to Give It Up. I was like, damn, we should make something like that, something with that groove. Then he started playing a little something and we literally wrote the song in about a half hour and recorded it.
Well, that's why it sounds so polished and fine-tuned, that particular song. They put a whole half hour into it.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know if you guys know this, but most of the best songs, most Grammy award-winning songs, certainly most MTV's People's Choice Award-winning songs are usually written in the span of about 12 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Or however long it takes for the coffee to get finished. And then
this is the longest we talk about anything besides video games and movies and television, I think, on this show. We never talk about music.
Do you guys want to? You guys want to talk about plagiarism controversies in music? Because I'm curious, does this, none of us were, Robin Thicke fans before, but if we had been, would this have ruined it? Do you guys take this stuff seriously?
If I had loved that song, or if I had some sort of deep admiration for Robin Thicke, I would mostly just shrug and say, I still like the song. There are worse musicians out there. Some musicians are murderers. So
there's a bar.
So I don't, whatever.
Let's shoot for that.
A lot of James Brown used to beat women. So, so did John Lennon. So.
Beck is a Scientologist.
Yeah, that's clearly the same thing. So, you just kind of have to roll with the punches sometimes. I don't care that his song sounds like another song. My issue with that song is that it's kind of misogynistic, and mostly it just sucks.
It's catchy, but it's clearly, rapey. There's no other way to say that, so. It's because to me, I know you guys probably remember back when, Coldplay got busted copying Joe Satriani, or when, Flaming Lips got caught plagiarizing Cat Stevens and stuff, and it's I still listen to those bands. It's not a fandom-ending thing, but
I think that there's a certain degree of grace with which you can cope with a situation like this. It's not. I don't think that it's necessarily a career-ending move to produce a song that is oh hey, shit, this sounds like some other thing that I heard recently or not so recently. You know, and there you can kind of get up on stage and go, oh, shit. Oh, I didn't mean that.
As long as you don't go full Vanilla Ice, right?
Yeah, you know, like, I mean, there's this moment, there's a saturation moment where in defense of your own originality, and it's funny because it happens to comedians quite a lot too,
Yeah.
where you tell a joke, and then it's like, dude, you stole that joke. And it's like, okay, you know, you don't necessarily have to have stolen a joke, like deliberately stolen a joke, to come up with and tell the same joke. But if it comes out that some other guy beat you to that joke, you've kind of got to be like, ah, shit. Well, what can you do? You know, he beat me to it.
Yeah. Are you guys fans of Dane Cook? Do you guys remember when he, quote unquote, stole some Louis C.K. material?
Yeah, Does Dane Cook have fans?
Dane Cook apparently has tons and tons of fans. So, I mean, if nothing else, he can certainly boast to having a large fan base. He's incredibly successful. Whether or not I listened to a stand-up act of his once, his Comedy Central Presents special before he was super famous. It was fine. It wasn't great, but I don't think he's shit. I'm not trying to be like a dick about it. I'm just saying he's fine as a comedian. He's fine. I haven't heard his more recent material, but if it's anything like that one special I saw for him, he's not unfunny. In terms of him apparently stealing the jokes, Louis C.K. apparently did an entire episode of his show about that. And I watched it, and Dane Cook played along, and they like debated whether or not he did that, and Dane. And he did make a good point, and I'll give a little to Dane Cook here. Apparently the biggest joke that apparently Dane Cook stole was itchy butthole, and Louis C.K. made a joke. He says, "Oh, I have such an itchy butthole sometime," and then later Dane Cook had a bit about how he has an itchy butthole. And on the show, Louis says, "You stole my bit," and Dane Cook says, "Lots of people have itchy buttholes. It is not a unique thing for that to happen and for people to comment on it." And he made a good point. And I don't know whether or not Dane explicitly and purposefully stole that bit. No offense, CK. You're noticeably funnier, but still.
Then, unless anybody else has any strong opinions on Dane Cook, I think he's better than people say he is.
I have some pretty strong opinions about the itchiness of Dane Cook's butthole.
Oh, do you have first-hand experience there?
You know what?
Are you calling him out? Are you throwing down the gauntlet, Johnny?
You know what, Cook? I don't believe your butthole's nearly as itchy as you say it is. We live in a day and age where soap and talcum powder and the right kind of fabrics are available to a man to avoid those kinds of situations. Does your toilet paper not do the job? I believe you could have access to a bidet if you wanted to.
Thank you for that, Johnny. And also thank you for calling it toilet paper and not bathroom tissue. Here's a thing to talk about. Chappie came out a few days ago in the theaters. By the time you're listening to this, like a week ago. I saw it. Sorry. It doesn't sound good already.
I know. We did an episode on it when it was, like, announced, I guess. And
yeah.
we were pretty positive. We were like, oh, yeah, we all love, I don't know how to pronounce his name, Blomkamp.
Well, first of all, no, we don't. We don't all love Blomkamp.
Why not?
We love District 9.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Alright, let me talk about two different things. First of all, I watched 2/3 of Elysium the other day, and I walked out of the room and turned it off, and my wife and I went to sleep, because we had no more fucks to give.
Damn. Don't you understand that they could only make one machine that was like, I don't know, made everybody absolutely immortal, and by, like, only just the one, because they only had enough unobtainium.
Yeah, look. Alright, here's the thing about Elysium, for those who have not seen it. You know how in District 9, how fairly obvious the whole apartheid thing comes out, and how
What?
beat you over the head obvious everything is about South African apartheid.
Man, I had to watch that movie like 6 times before I was like, damn, racism is awful.
Yeah.
Shit.
And District 9 was still really good, in spite of or because of its stuff. But as obvious as that was, Elysium makes District 9 look super subtle and like barely understandable about what it's really about. Elysium stars an almost exclusively Hispanic population who looks to the sky and wants to go to America land in the sky and get rich people medical technology. Basically Mexico wants to go to Space America to get better health care. And speaking of Mexicans, Matt Damon.
Speaking of Mexicans,
Matt Damon plays someone named DaCosta. We don't get into a whole lot about his lineage, but the fact that super white Matt Damon is playing someone named DaCosta and is allegedly Latino in the film is a little ridiculous. It's like twice as ridiculous as Charlton Heston playing a Mexican in Touch of Evil, because in black and white you can almost fudge it, but this is like, he's just walking around looking like Matt Damon always looks, and we just have to pretend his name is DaCosta. This movie sucked. It was very, very...
Chappie or Elysium? Which one are you on right now?
Elysium. This movie sucked. Now I'll talk about Chappie. This movie sucked. It was not good. It was definitely better than Elysium. I'll give it that. There were a few moments where it didn't completely suck, and you were like, oh, cool. Oh, Chappie, we love you. This is adorable. But
Leon, did we learn a valuable lesson about not judging intelligent robots?
We learned nothing. We learned that apparently consciousness can be seen in computer form and transferred to robots. I guess spoilers, because that's how it ends. And that is apparently okay by Chappie. They don't really go into the fact that that's clearly just a copy of their consciousness that's going into the robot body, and that the humans are dead. But whatever. I also learned that if you hire a bunch of rap stars from South Africa to be the 3 main characters in your movie besides a robot, everything looks like shit and sounds like shit because they can't act. So that's what I learned from Chappie. I do want to say one thing, and that's the special effects in terms of making Chappie look like he's really there and not like he's Jar Jar Binks or any other computer-generated character in a live-action movie. The effect is actually very, very good. It does not look fakey at all. And that's very, very impressive by any standard. I mean...
Well, what you said the acting was bad, right? What else was it? 'Cause it's getting, like, critically savaged, and you said you hated it. So
well, it was more than just the acting. It was also the dialogue. It all just felt ridiculous and over the top. Which... How do I put this? It's hard to explain. Okay, let me put it this way. The guy who invented him drives by and he says, "I will get you back, Chappie. I will bring you back. Don't do bad things while I am gone, Chappie." And Chappie says, "Okay, creator." And then, and then he goes, be good, Chappie. Be good and don't touch guns." And then he drives away. And that was like the dialogue throughout the entire thing. It was just really abominable. It also has the problem of all of Blomkamp's films in which the nemesis, the antagonist, rather than having basically it made all his antagonists, and I shouldn't even say all his antagonists, everyone except the main characters of the film are just sociopaths. That's what it's like. I mean, District 9 was like that. It's like, you guys are going too far. Everyone in this movie is just terrible except the one guy who used to be terrible and now he's not terrible.
Well, there's no room for, moral nuance. It's like, clearly some people are just evil and some people are just good in his movies. There's only 4 of them so far, but it seems to be a pattern.
Wait, there's a 4th one? I thought there was only 3. What was the 4th?
Is there? I don't know. Maybe I'm not good at counting.
No, I think there's District 9, and then Elysium, and then Chappie. If there's a 4th, I apologize. But
maybe I'm thinking... No, I was thinking of the short film he did before.
Oh, okay.
It was,
He was gonna do Halo, so.
Yeah, I mean, everyone in the whole Hollywood was going to do the Halo movie at some point. I was thinking of Alive in Joburg, which is the short movie that District 9 is based off of. Never mind, there's only 3.
All right. Well, anyway, I will say one thing. Kudos to Hugh Jackman for taking a villain role when he sort of cultivated his good guy persona for a long time. It was kind of like watching Tom Hanks be the bad guy in a movie to see Hugh Jackman do that, and good for him. And he was fine in it, but again, he played someone completely over the top. He's an office worker who works on computers and a big a big machine that's like wants to be the replacement for the humanoid robots, and he
ED-209?
Yeah, basically. That's exactly what happened. As soon as his thing called the Moose was there, I said, "Oh, it's Ed-209." And all the other robots are RoboCops. They're humanoid robots who are the police force, and he wants to replace them with Ed-209. It was like staggering that they thought we wouldn't think of that, I guess. Or maybe it was an homage. So, yeah, but there's a scene, and I guess I'll just spoil some of this. There's a scene where the creator of Chappie, he's sitting in his office, and, you know, he's the good guy. And Hugh Jackman walks over to him and says, "Oh, I need the key to something." And the good guy says, "Oh, I can't. I'm not allowed to do that." And he says, and there's like it's like a crowded office place where everyone's looking at them. And Hugh Jackman slams his head down on the counter and takes out a gun and points it to the back of his head and says, "I want the key. I want the key." He says, "I can't give it to you." And then he pulls the trigger, and of course it's an empty clip. And he says, "Oh, I'm just messing with you." And he goes back to his seat and he starts typing. Like, this is totally normal behavior. And everyone just gets over it real quick. It's like, you should have been fired twice by now. That is terrible. So, yeah, everyone's horrible, and everyone there's no nuance. There's no, like, shades of gray stuff that... It's science fiction where it's... hard sci-fi is supposed to be smarter than this, I guess is what I'm trying to say, and... But here's the thing about Blomkamp, and I'll just wrap it up here because we're taking a long time on this, and I'm sorry. I really like that there's a director/writer who wants to work exclusively in science fiction in Hollywood. I think that's great. James Cameron barely makes movies anymore, and his next 3 movies are going to be Avatar. J.J. Abrams does a lot of science fiction, and he's a competent director, but he seems like he doesn't care that much. His interest in doing Star Trek was they told him about it, and he'd never seen it before. His interest in doing Star Wars was that he did Star Trek well enough. Whereas Neil seems like he genuinely loves science fiction, and I like that about him, but that doesn't create anything good except for District 9. He has 2 really rotten movies, and one that was a surprise hit. And I just have no faith in the next Alien movie now. I'm like not looking forward to it all of a sudden.
Well, I mean,
are you saying that our Alien movies need to have more nuance as to the motivation of the xenomorph?
I'm saying that the first Alien movie, there was the sexual subtext of the film, although when you watch it now and knowing that, it seems kind of obvious, was beneath the surface enough that you felt uncomfortable, but you weren't 100% why. Whereas Blomkamp's idea about what makes evil is twirling your mustache and pointing a gun at someone in an office and then giggling about it. And I don't think that's the same thing. That's my concern.
I mean, he has a great eye as a director. If someone else was writing the new Alien movie, I might feel better about it, because it's clearly the scripts, I think, that have the problem. If there's no nuance, there's no subtlety, the dialogue is wooden, stuff like that. If someone else took over those duties and he just filmed it, right?
Yeah, it's just... I don't want to say that he can't write, because he can. It's just that he needs a helper. And I don't mean that in a dick way. At
this point in time, he is writing as well as some people bat in baseball.
Yeah. That sounds about right. It's... I don't know.
Final question, Leon. Is Chappie a worthwhile spiritual successor to Short Circuit?
No. There's a scene in Chappie that is almost identical to the Short Circuit 2 scene where they're beating the shit out of Johnny Five, and it's the saddest thing ever. They tried to do almost exactly that in Chappie, but I didn't give a shit.
Wait. Is there a scene in Chappie where he raps with Antwoord?
There is a scene in Chappie where he raps, where he talks hip-hop style. His three friends are all rappers. So,
yeah, do you know Antwoord?
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I know that I think they're the rappers, but I'm not familiar with their style.
There's a woman in Chappie who has no eyebrows and looks a little creepy, but
right.
Maybe in a weird sexy way, but in a kind of unsettling sort of way where you're like, are you 12? Is that, should I find you attractive? I don't know if you're obviously not, so I'm not crazy, but
She's a shit actress. And I'm not even, I'm sorry if that sounds mean, but they're not actors, and they had no business being in this movie. I'm sorry. I guess the director is just such a huge fan. He's like, I'm going to make a movie with these rap stars I like. And someone said, what's it going to be about? I said, I don't know, robots? It doesn't matter. I just want these three people in my movie.
Yeah, all right. Sorry, just let me,
I honestly know nothing about them. I just know that they're rappers.
Let it be noted, Leon, that you've lost a lot of street cred here today.
I don't give a shit.
You sounded really serious about it. The streets know I'm real. It don't matter. Real recognizes real, Leon.
That's the title. The streets know I'm real. Okay.
Oh no. Okay, now Johnny's just sending us pictures of shirtless men, which is that's them. That's
the Antwoord. They record under that name.
Oh wait, it's just two?
Yeah, just two.
Then they picked Antwoord, and then they put a third guy in their group who is not part of Antwoord. I'm sorry, I assumed that all three of the people in the gang in the movie were all the rap stars, but apparently it's only the two white people. And the other one they just threw in.
I can't believe you're not up on your South African rap rave groups.
I know almost nothing about popular music.
This is shameful.
The fact that I even know what Uptown Funk is not only surprising, but I guess that's a credit to how popular it is.
So, guys, next news story, next pointless diversion.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Just take it. I don't care.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you guys want to talk about? There's a little bit of video game news. It's been kind of a slow week. There have been a couple announcements. I don't know how much you guys care. For instance, today, Naughty Dog revealed that Uncharted 4 would not be hitting in 2015. I don't think either of you two are fans of that series, but
I played 1 and 2.
I haven't played them yet. I bet I'd like them based on everything I've heard. I just haven't gotten around to it.
It's my opinion that the second one is really good, and the first and third are not so good. But the
second one definitely takes the crown as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, but
I never played the third because fuck you, I do what I want.
It's a marquee franchise, and it's a Sony first-party exclusive. It not making this year at all is a pretty big blow to their holiday lineup and the PS4 in general. There's not too many big-name games coming for it, which is, I mean, neither of you are in the market for a current-gen console, but, yeah, that's the thing, guys. It's going to be hard selling that console with that exclusives. I'm
beginning to wonder whether or not they're actually concerned about selling the consoles, given that the PS4 sales figures have stomped.
Yeah, they have a commanding lead, but if they don't have any compelling software, I wonder how long that lasts. I mean, what really has come out for the PS4?
Think about it. I mean, this next Christmas coming up, okay, people who aren't going to have bought consoles by this next Christmas are people that are sitting on the sidelines. Like, I mean, you know, they do have launch franchises. They have, like, titles that if you were really into buying an Xbone or a PS4, you could conceivably do it now and not feel bad about it because there are enough games coming out for both of them that you have options. We've got past that launch slump, right? So this Christmas, the strategy is going to be, okay, can we cut some more money off and grab the fence sitters? It's not going to be people who are like, oh, you know what, I'm not going to get the PS4 until the new Uncharted comes out. Fucking nobody's doing that. I only play Uncharted games. I'm sorry. That's it. That's all.
It's just when I look at the exclusive lineups for the current, I almost call them new consoles. The current consoles, it's like PlayStation has Bloodborne and it has like a couple indie games and stuff. It's not huge. I mean, Xbox has the Ori and the Blind Forest, which came out, which is a cool looking game, but it's an indie game. And then they have, you know, a Halo promise. But then you look at the Wii U and it's some fucking madhouse over there, guys.
Did
Mario
Bloodborne
Kart,
come out
Smash
yet?
Brothers. Bloodborne comes out in like 2 weeks.
Okay.
It's going to be good, but it's not going to be like holiday season blockbuster good selling, you know, in October. That's my concern. Nintendo has the new Legend of Zelda coming. They have a Star Fox reboot. They have a new Yoshi game. They have Xenoblade. They have the Pokemon 2D Fighter.
I mean, that's Nintendo's new jam. Like, that's their thing. You know, I won't say as far back as Nintendo's been in business, but certainly in the last one could arguably say 2 to 3 console iterations that they've had, it's been all about, like, what can you get from Nintendo, not what can you get from a game console. You know, the Western attitude seems to be like, okay, like, what can you get from our console? What can you get from our console's more powerful? Our console's more this, our console's more that. But they are trying so hard for the same, they're dipping into the same pool, trying to grab customers that might or might not want either them or Microsoft. Nintendo is just like, do you like Nintendo? You love Nintendo. I know you do. Do you want Nintendo? We have Nintendo. Come on, come out of the rain and come get some Nintendo. Yeah, get off those wet clothes. Nintendo loves you.
Whoa, Nintendo's sounding a little creepy now, Johnny.
Nah, Nintendo's just really affectionate.
Nintendo does always go after the smaller crowd.
Oh, god damn it. My point here, guys, is that E3 is coming up in a couple months, and I think Sony and Microsoft are going to have to come out pretty hard to compete with the monstrous console library that the Wii U is constructing right now, which is something I never thought I'd say.
You've seen absolutely every single conference that these guys have run at every major gaming convention in the last, 5 years, Austin. What do? They cross-promote each other's games, pretend that they're exclusives, because they hand over a shit ton of money to Bethesda or Ubisoft or fucking, Electronic Arts or whatever, and be like, hey, do you want to show up at our convention and then, show that your new game is due to the amazing processing power of the Fitzmagibbon.
Alright.
I miss the Xbox One names.
Well, no, I mean, but they do, and then, and they're coming up next to the Microsoft stage, Bo Jackson. For Electronic Arts Football. And everybody's like, oh my god, only the Xbone could run Bo Jackson.
So what can, Sony even pull out? I mean, God of War 4?
They absolutely have to be working on something God of War related. I've always said that they should just do a different mythology, just
Crash Bandicoot.
Naughty Dog was actually looking into doing Crash Bandicoot before they started on The Last of Us. They couldn't figure out what they wanted to do with it, so I'd be interested in seeing if that came back. But they have a deep stable of IPs. They have all those JRPGs back in the PS1 and PS2 era. They have just second party studios and stuff.
Who knows? Maybe they're gonna hit hard with Project Morpheus. Maybe Project Morpheus is no. I mean, they might decide to do it. It's a risky move, but they might decide to do it. You know.
Well, you know what the biggest unit shifter is right now for the current gen consoles is Destiny, and that's not an exclusive game, but Sony told everyone it was, and people bought it like it was. It's a really strange marketing move they pulled off, but like. Destiny is, as far as the sales charts are concerned, is kind of a PlayStation 4 exclusive. Mm-hmm. It's a very interesting situation, and I think we're going to see more of that, where things that are made by, outside companies are kind of claimed. We've seen that.
What, you mean like Rise of the Tomb Raider?
That's an extreme case of that, yeah, where they're basically cock-blocking it entirely. But, yeah, there's a whole spectrum of control that the platform holders are exerting over third-party releases.
Well, third-party releasers, they cannot afford to limit their games to one demographic anymore, to one console owner. Games are getting more and more and more expensive, and to turn away the possibility that you might get revenue streams from a whole hunk of the market that, just because your best buddy at Microsoft said, "Oh, come on. Those overalls look great on you. I'll give you $20."
Oh, Johnny. There's one other video game story that caught my eye. Did you guys ever play Rock Band or the Guitar Hero?
I didn't.
Yeah.
You didn't, Leon?
Not even a little bit.
Wow, like everybody I know has at least one plastic instrument in a closet somewhere. That shit was so fucking popular with everyone, at least in my circles. It's crazy to me that ever went away for as long as it did, because Activision just drove it straight into the ground. But now it's coming back. Harmonix announced that a new Rock Band for current gen consoles is coming, and it's going to be kind of a platform unto itself to sustain us through the generation, where we'll keep buying music to add to it, but not buying new iterations, and they're going to kind of keep it simple to avoid fatiguing people with the releases like they did last time. Are you guys interested at all? Do you think this is going to make a comeback? Do you want to try it, Leon? It's so much fun.
Nope, not even a little bit. I'm sorry, but I'm not even remotely interested in Rock Band or Guitar Hero or rhythm games in general.
Is it because you're a sad little troll person, or?
Partly, but also because I probably won't know the vast majority of the songs, as evidenced by the fact that we somehow made this the music edition of this show, and I don't follow a lot of music, and even the songs that I do like Uptown Funk, I have serious moral objections to, apparently, for some reason, so no.
You're going to feel so out of place next week, Leon, because the whole show is just going to be us reviewing the new Modest Mouse record, so going to bone up on your discography there, man. Come on.
Yeah, I'm going to flush that episode. And I'm going to fix it in Audacity where it's just me talking about Blade Runner for an hour.
Don't worry, Austin. I make secondary recordings of each episode. But it's funny. It's funny you say that, though, Leon, because my favorite Guitar Heroes, my favorite ones were the first and the second one, because after that, they seem to be like, oh, geez, oh, quick, like, what's popular, what's new, I can't remember, I think it was in Guitar Hero 3 that they had, Muse songs, and, I don't even remember, I don't remember Guitar Hero 3, I don't.
Wasn't that the one with Slash?
It might have been. Maybe it was. But I remember that, some of my favorite songs to play in the original Guitar Hero were, Texas Flood. 'Cause Stevie Ray Vaughan could fucking wail. Fucking Crossroads as covered by Cream, because Robert Johnson could wail, and then, beyond that, Eric Clapton could wail. It seemed to me that most of the songs were actually legitimately about, oh, hey, these are instrument-centric songs. These are staples of the guitar. And, and then, the first Rock Band came out, and I played it, and I was like, ooh, this is entertaining, but I still felt really uninspired by the song list.
So it's a track listing thing for you.
It was a track listing thing for me, although, yeah, I think it was the first Rock Band that also had Float On it. I think it was Float On.
I definitely remember that being in a Guitar Hero game. I can't remember which one.
It was one of the Rock Band games, yeah, because it was one of the only songs that I could wail lead guitar on, like, the hardest mode and also do the vocals. And everybody's like, oh my god, and I'm like, fuck you. He's amazing. Yeah, you know, it after that, it sort of slowly devolved into, okay, what's popular, what's quick, you know, and it'd be like, coming next week, the Nickelback sound pack. No.
I mean, there's always going to be music you don't like. For me, the problem was that they kept trying to pump out standalone installments, which meant they have to keep adding, like, new campaign elements and new instruments, and they just kept, it was basically a feature creep. I said, whatever, which was something they're trying to avoid. I think it's smart, just kind of give you the instruments, give you a bass line, and just sell you the music you like. And I think it's going to come back, and I think it's going to be fun. I really like those games. So I'm excited. Those are my video game news, guys, unless you want to talk about just the most pointless miscellanea that's cropped up over this slow week.
Jay, we kind of have to wrap things up in a couple of minutes. Is there anything super important we need to talk about before we go?
Super important. Well, when the comments of last week's episode, I don't know if you saw this, Leon, but the commenters...
Why would you even ask if I've seen
Because I tweeted it, but the commenters were attempting to assemble the perfect man based on our Liam versus Chris Hemsworth conversation, and it was decided that it should be Liam Hemsworth's body, Chris Hemsworth's voice, my personality, and Johnny's culinary mastery. And then in parentheses it says, sorry, Leon.
Okay.
I thought that funny. They didn't even give you, like, they wasn't even like, oh, Leon's encyclopedic knowledge of film, or like Leon's giant horse cock. It was just nothing.
Especially not the last one.
I could have at least thrown you a bone, is my point.
Yeah, that's rough, man.
We really do have to go. Any final thoughts before we wrap up?
I'm going to go ahead and say that everybody should be watching Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix. Yes.
Oh my god. It is. I'm only like 4 episodes in, and I completely agree. Yes. Just go watch that right now.
It's some of the funniest TV I've seen in a long time.
That's Tina Fey's new show, right?
Yeah. I'm a few episodes in. She has not appeared, so it's possible that she doesn't even have a guest starring role. I could be totally wrong, and by the time
she does make a cameo in like the last two to three episodes. I can't remember if it's only 2 or 3, but it really is like it's a bit part.
Okay.
And ridiculous.
Okay. Well, it's pretty great. It reminds me of 30 Rock in terms of some of its delivery and its sort of cutaway gags from time to time. And I'm not sure how to say this because, again, I'm only a few episodes in, but I already care more about Kimmy than I ever cared about any of the characters from 30 Rock because it was portrayed basically as just a giant goof and that there were no consequences to anything. And I don't mean that in a terrible way, but we are clearly supposed to be attached to Kimmy and her very unfortunate backstory.
30 Rock was a cartoon. It was a funny cartoon, but it was
it was really good. It was and Kimmy has some of that element, but it also feels like I want to care about this character.
I haven't seen it. I'm going to watch that show. It sounds good. I am watching Better Call Saul, the sequel to Breaking Bad, which I thought was kind of going to be gimmicky, but it's really, really strong. I think
really good.
It has a chance of being just as good as Breaking Bad, which is not something I would have thought possible. But yeah, I'm really digging it so far. That's what I'm up to.
Yeah, it's a totally different show. I did not think that it was going to be, I didn't think that going in it was going to be, oh geez, another gritty kind of heartbreaking, ooh, what's going to happen next, But it's a superb character show. It's so funny to see how people become the way that you think they are. It's interesting to see that because we had such a limited exposure to Saul Goodman in Breaking Bad. We only ever really saw him as Saul Goodman, except for maybe in some of the last episodes where he finally just kind of breaks down. He's like, this shit is heavy. I'm out. I gotta go. And it's funny to see more of that character, more of the character that kind of willingly becomes, that is coerced, that convinces himself into becoming Saul Goodman. It's such a different flavor, it's such a different mood, but I'm loving it.
Good stuff. I guess that's it. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Leon.
Bye.
Internet hugs!